What's up, guys? Max here, back with some more impressions of fighting games you might have seen at E3 and ones I got to play. This one is kind of crazy because you would think this game had been out for a few years now, but it absolutely hasn't and has only seen a release in Japanese arcades. And it is Tekken 7. Tekken 7 had perhaps one of the best stage performances at E3 in terms of its demo because they showed something off that was absolutely crazy that everyone thought was like a cinematic, and then all of a sudden it jumped right into gameplay and it was like, whoa, what the hell am I looking at? And that was its story mode. I got quite a bit of time with Tekken 7 and I wanted to talk about that specifically, but I did really want to talk about this story mode battle that they demoed because I got to play that, and that left a pretty big impression. Tekken's never been a game with a huge story mode per se. There's been a lot of CG cutscenes and crazy wacky endings for some characters throughout its arcade modes, but for the most part it's never had like a super concrete story mode. But they're doing something pretty interesting. This battle was between Heihachi and Akuma, and essentially you can think of this as being a very cinematic fight. It starts off with Akuma entering Heihachi's dojo, and they share some words and they start battling it out. But suddenly the camera goes right into the mix and the announcer says fight, and you are playing. I was kind of taken back by this because what I was seeing was actually in-game footage, but it was running at a slower frame rate to make it look a little bit more cinematic because you weren't controlling it. But as soon as it jumped into the game footage where you're actually fighting each other, it jumped up to 60 and I was like, whoa, I'm actually playing. The fights are pretty damn cool, and even though this is a brief taste of what they were talking about for these story mode fights, the fact that they're in these really ridiculous cinematic moments where the characters are like charging up and you have to hit them out of their charge, where you clash with the other character and then respond by jumping back into the fight is really freaking awesome. It's some stuff that I've always wanted in fighting game story modes, or specifically the battles in fighting game story modes, because a lot of the time you get story mode cutscene that leads into a fight, and that fight, which is just the same fight you would normally take place in the majority of a lot of fighting games, and then if you win, it just continues and you see the next cutscene. This felt like the fight was actually an interactive sort of like movie in a way, where you're still playing Tekken, but there's these moments that they like really highlight with camera angles and really dramatic stuff that the characters say to each other. It's super freaking awesome. I do hope it's fleshed out, and they wouldn't give much information on how much this is going to be fleshed out in the final game, because the other thing that left a pretty big impression was the fact that I was playing the game on the PC version, which was recently announced. And of course, with a fighting game that's going to be on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and PC, the first thing you're going to be asking is crossplay going to be a thing for Tekken 7? And this was the first thing I also asked the developers about the game, along with the netcode, and they did not have much information on how the netplay was going to be handled yet. But they did seem very aware that crossplay is a thing, and it seems like they're trying to make it happen. They couldn't give me confirmation on whether or not it was going to definitely be there, but they were very aware about crossplay, and considering the game is going to be on 3 different platforms, you would assume it's a pretty big priority. Now, being on the PC version as well, Tekken 7 did get to show off something that I don't think many people have seen with this game, and it's the freaking graphics. Now, I know what you're saying, graphics are kind of like a sidestep in terms of how good a game can be in terms of fighting games, but they're really important, and graphics, in all honesty, make the game look as good as possible to get people in to play them and eventually learn how to play them. So I think graphics are actually very important for fighting games as well as characters. But what I saw with Tekken 7 on the PC version was pretty shocking. Like, I honestly feel that this game on PC is the best looking fighting game I've ever seen. Mortal Kombat X comes really close. A lot of its characters' animations and backgrounds are ridiculous with how much motion and movement there are. But with this on PC in proper high resolution, the backgrounds are changing like between day to night to like storms and like different types of weather effects. It's all happening in real time, and the lighting is affecting the characters in some ways, and the particle effects that happen and the way they splash on the characters and the light that causes, super freaking cool. Not to mention the character models are awesome. Like, Akuma is possibly the best looking Akuma I've ever seen in any game he's been in. And with all of that being said, I'd say Tekken 7 is probably the best looking fighting game I've ever seen. You can also say the aesthetics of Guilty Gear Xrd might technically come down to being the best looking there is, but if you want to talk about terms of like pixel to pixel graphic quality and detail, dude, T7 on PC is no joke. Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about is the characters I played with, which is a lot of Akuma and a lot of Jin. I didn't mess around too much with the roster, just because I didn't have that much time to play with it, only about an hour and a half. But Akuma is hilariously fun. And I mean hilariously fun is that he breaks the traditions of Tekken a lot. And if you're not super comfortable with Tekken, man, Akuma is the character for you. I think you would eventually have to learn to adjust to Tekken and its playstyles and sidestepping and moving around a lot in this game, because Akuma breaks those barriers quite a bit. You hold up forward with Akuma, and guess what he does? The dude jumps forward. And that's kind of weird because I was playing other people that were playing as Akuma, and I was playing a regular Tekken character like Jin, and seeing them jump forward at me made me think that I could jump forward at them, and then I immediately realized, oh my god, no, that doesn't work. My brain, stop doing that. So Akuma is a character that's easily sidestepped. Once you learn how to play against him, I think he's not going to be nearly as crazy good. But either way, he's not out yet, so it's kind of hard to say. But avoiding a lot of his fireballs and things like that weren't super difficult because sidestepping is very good against him. Other than that, Jin did seem a lot of fun. He's got a lot of revamped moves that make me very refreshed to play as him. I do like his new costume a lot. He's probably going to be my main character for sure because he's been my main character in all the Tekken games, and I very much like the way Lars looks in this one compared to his previous crazy Power Rangers design. Overall, the gameplay of Tekken when you're playing traditional Tekken characters feels a little bit slower than I can remember from some previous Tekken games, maybe like Tekken 5. It seems like it's a little bit more refined. I can't tell you high-level stuff just because I haven't played Tekken in a remotely high level in literally over 10 years, and I want this game to be that one, and seeing that it's going to get a chance at crossplay, it's going to look amazing on PC. I am super excited about this game. I can't even tell you how much I've wanted to get back into Tekken, and the biggest thing that drew me out of Tekken Tag Tournament 2 was the fact that I had to learn multiple characters, and I've always really liked Tekken as a 1v1 game, and Tekken 6 was going to be that game back when it came out. I was heavily invested into its launch, learning its new characters, and I totally stopped playing because the netcode was absolutely atrocious. And the Namco guys asked me personally, like, what would make me play Tekken a lot more, and I said, if the net play is really good, and it's a 1v1 Tekken game, there's a very good chance this will be my 3D fighter for quite some time, because if you guys know me or have watched streams where we play Tekken games, we've been itching for 3D fighters for some time. At least one that puts us on kind of an even level where we have to learn how to play with each other. Tekken 7, of course, does share a lot of stuff and combo strings from previous Tekken games, but you will have to figure things out in this one because you have these new rage art mechanics, you have these new moves that kind of act like focus attacks in some ways that have armor. It is going to feel like a different game compared to the others, which is a very good thing, and it's going to be a refreshing as hell experience when it comes out, especially if we can play with everyone. I really hope that crossplay ends up being a thing, because that will be a defining moment for Tekken, especially if it has good netcode. Either way, guys, I am absolutely excited for this one, and it's really showing that 2017 is going to be a crazy year for fighting games, because in almost the first quarter of the year, we're going to be getting Injustice 2 and Tekken 7, and who knows what else is going to be happening around that time frame, and it's a good day. It's a good day to be a fighting game fan, and if you're looking forward to Tekken, I highly encourage you to go to tournaments and give it a shot, because it was a lot of fun, at least to me. As always, dudes, thank you a ton for watching. Thank you for hanging out. I'll be back with more coverage of some of the fighting games I played at E3, and the next one's going to be talking about the couple of hours I spent with King of Fighters 14. My name is Max, and I'll see you next time.